DIY.
I gotta share this story because it really reminds me the place that I was in when I was very, very passionate on this channel about making sure that we exposed all of the unfair ways of the streaming platforms to independent artists. I tried my best, and I'm still doing it daily, to make sure that we empower ourselves to go direct to consumer and make the money that we should make off of the art that we invest so much money and time into. With that said, Vic Mensa, Chicago native, man, he's been killing it this year with his content. It's dope to see another side of him in which he's being more vulnerable with his audience through his content, not just his music. He had a video that went viral on a few different platforms. Man, it meets him really, really passionate about this topic. So it says here in the caption, he has an immense fear in posting this video, but it's real. I know many of you make music and all of us love music. Are we caring for the people that create it is his question. Tears down his eyes. This is what he had to say.
Just broke down in the shower, thinking about the weight of being an artist in a time when work is so devalued and depreciated. The impact on the mental health of artists the streaming era is creating. I remember I saw James Blake was launching that platform Vault, where he was having artists put their catalogs unreleased up. And I saw a comment on it that was like, why would I pay $10 to one artist when I could pay $10 for all artists ever? And
yeah.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
Not to cut him off too soon within his video, but that was the pushback that I experienced as I made more content, and I started to see it wasn't even music fans who had the complaint he just said. It was other artists. Imagine that. Other artists who know to some degree how much work that this takes and requires to make the music, to learn how to make the music, how much money this takes to invest in yourself to get any kind of traction in this music, collaboration in this music. They're the ones complaining to me, well, why in the hell are you going against streaming? It's always been like this for us. Don't try to fix it. Just keep it the same way. And I'm telling them, literally within one sale of one physical or digital album, you could make the equivalent of what would take you 1,000 to 5,000 streams to do. But then I realized how many artists out here is lazy as hell and stuck in their ways, but continue.
at the time I was like, that's so fried of a mentality. But like today, it kind of hit me like how impacts the mental health of artists. People feel like that shit not worth $10. You know what I'm saying? It's heartbreaking, but it's hilarious at the same time. Like, not worth $10. Artists are already people that are predisposed to suicide.
Before he dives into that one, can you think about that for a second? I feel where you're coming from, right? I don't think it's ever had me in a place where that shit like broke me down on that level, and who knows what else is going on. I salute to this brother. I wish him nothing but positivity. But think about that for a second. Here y'all are in this environment, whether you're watching this again or whether you're watching this live. Here we are discussing all of the things that involve music. The artists that are making the music, the artists, the businesses that are attached to the music. Here we are hyper consuming information and stories that would not even be possible if no music was made that got our attention. That's how important music is. Here we are paying these subscriptions or paying for tickets to go see these shows, paying for merchandise because of the importance of music. Detaching what it is as a product just because of the power of music, right? We're all here right now. With that said, though, at the same time, you hear people that want to tell you how little value music actually has because of the systems that were set up that they had no say in. So because a company like a Spotify or an Apple iTunes tells you this is the price of a single, 99 cents or whatever it was when it first launched, or a digital album is now $7.99 or $8.99, $10.99. And now because they even get rid of that and said, you know what? It's worth 0.003 cents. How did you come to that? Doesn't even matter. I like that because I ain't got to be concerned with it. It's incredible because music, there's some of us, there's a lot of us in here who could not have we would not be able to operate our days without music. Sounds like a pretty important fucking product, doesn't it? How many things do you buy and only use a couple of times and never go back to? You use this every single day of your life. And for some of us, it's a very small group of artists that we go to. I'd say that's pretty fucking important. And I'm saying this as a music lover and not just as someone who makes music, as a music lover first. I'd say it's pretty damn important to me. I'll let him continue though.
Like, it's just not funny, but that's real. To add into that, a dimension of economic inequity so profound that not even the record labels know what to do about this. Like, they don't even know how to get the money right now. I was just feeling this way today, and I felt like if I'm feeling this way, and I'm blessed to have touched millions of people with my art, I have a wonderful life. If I'm feeling this way, then I know there are many smaller artists, and larger, dealing with the same things, man.
Shout out to him for being so vulnerable, because he don't have to use his platform like that. There are artists right now that you listen to, and maybe you're not that invested into them individually and you don't care. But there's artists right now that you do listen to, and if they never put out another project, it would change a lot for you in terms of the way that you look at music, the way that you consume it. You know, you would feel pretty damn bad if your favorite artist didn't stop making music, not because they didn't have the ability to, but because they just could not afford it. I always come back to this example because I want to use this as both an opportunity for people who buy music, listen to music, and also those who sell music or thinking about selling music to really look at this for what the numbers are. All right, let's say you did 1,000 streams, right? Which is the least amount that you must have annually until you get paid by Spotify specifically. Yes, you heard that right. But let's say 1,000 streams. Let's say you got 1,000 streams on Apple Music. Let's say you got 1,000 streams on Amazon. Let's say you got 1,000 views on YouTube. That will get you about $21.76. Okay. Let's say out of those 1,000 people, you got just 10 of them. Just 10. To buy your album for $10, it's $100. Can you see how that math sounds a lot more reachable for some of you that maybe don't have the platforms? I got my YouTube. I'm blessed. I'm grateful for my YouTube that I've built up to be able to share my music at different times. Can you imagine how much more accessible that is for people in a position where maybe you don't have 1,000 people that are willing to buy, but if you got 10, bro, you could do an open mic and sell 2 or 3. If you're good at what you do, you can sell 2 or 3 at a damn poetry event. If they even still doing open mics like that, you can sell that. You can sell that accidentally for an album that you do. But the math just never really made any sense. How about this? How about you said, you know what, my rent is $1,500, and let's say your expenses is $1,500, and you need $3,000, and you need that as basically you're working, like that's your minimum wage. Like you need to be able to get $3,000 in order for your livelihood, which in California, impossible. These are the kind of streams that you'd have to do to get that.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
I'm not saying this to anybody. What's up, Vil? I'm not saying this to anybody like this is new information. We've been knew it was effed up. I just want to make sure you have the perspective. This is what you got to do, not just one time, but every single month. You must have music that are generating these numbers. Of course, this is why people put thousands of songs out. You got a better shot at trying to get 1,000 songs to these numbers than trying to get 1 or 2. That's how ridiculous it is. With that said, though, there are some people out here, man, who are trying to figure this thing out. And, one of those groups right now is a group that is, they're trying to get a bill through that gets passed and signed by the president called the Living Wage for Musicians Act. And actually, it took a huge first step into at least consideration by Congress on June 2nd. On this article here that is on Root Note blog, it says New York City backs plans for music streaming price to increase to 1 penny, not 0.003 cents, which is a fraction of a penny, in order to pay artists a living wage. It says the Living Wage for Musicians Act aims to give artists fair pay directly from music streaming because, as you can tell by these dumbass numbers, ain't nobody surviving off of streaming like that doesn't already have a pretty modest and minimalist lifestyle. That ain't even enough money to support my son when he was 2. Hell no. What are you talking about? Baby's expensive, bro. Continuing, it says New York City takes a stand for artist pay. In New York City, which is one of the hardest places, which is why this has good signs for, getting pretty far, they have backed plans that could revolutionize how musicians are paid in the streaming era. Last week, the city council passed Resolution 368, calling on the U.S. Congress to pass the Living Wage Musicians Act. We talked about this last year. The Living Wage for Musicians Act was proposed last year by Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and former Congressman Jamal Bowman, developed in conjunction with the United Musicians and Allied Workers, and aims to introduce a new royalty system that creates a new streaming royalty paid directly to artists. How would this new streaming royalty be created exactly? Well, if passed, the act would add a 50% levy increase to all music streaming subscription prices in the U.S. under federal law. This additional charge would go into a fund that pays musicians directly, bypassing labels and distributors. This was my first issue, our first concern. Like, I love to see that they're trying to figure out something to increase the pay, right? It already should have never got to a fraction of a penny because of the amount of traffic that is being driven to these websites that have ads that people are paying millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars in order to be. It should have never been a fraction of a penny. It's ridiculous. And now they're not even paying that to people who don't get 1,000 annual streams. With that said, though, my concern was that if you do increase the price of streaming, well, logically, you have to increase the subscriptions. Does that mean you'll be paying $70 a month for your YouTube family pack so that you can enjoy all the music? Who knows? I just know I don't trust Spotify in this conversation. It says, why does this matter for New York City and the artist community? Despite streaming platforms like Spotify paying over $10 billion to artists across last year alone, I hate how they package that up because it seems like it's $10 billion sounds like a hell of a lot of money until you realize how that's being divvied up in terms of a pie system, right? Where the people who are generating the most views get a larger slice of the pie, and even their pie gets sliced by their major label deal. It gets tricky. So don't let that number fool you. The proposal highlights the difficulty for artists to earn a sustainable income from streaming. It said passing the act at federal level is key to making New York City more affordable for working musicians to live, create, and thrive in the music capital of the world. It says New York City recognizes this difficulty, for it estimates 14,000 working musicians full-time, stating that many face volatile employment situations and economic insecurity. Session musicians and backing vocalists often don't earn royalties from streaming at all, instead receiving one-off payments for their time. There was an article years ago that said that of all the money that is being generated thanks to this beautiful thing called music in the music industry, artists, engineers, anybody who touches music are only enjoying collectively 12% of the entire pot. Think about that. Think about if you help to build a house with your tools. Let's say the tools are music, right? But you needed people who did business, the suits. You need the suits to structure things and create these models that, could generate income, to promote it and market it. But imagine you're contributing a product that business won't even exist without, and you're only making 12% collectively of the whole pie. That's like helping to build a house, and then you only get access to the bathroom. Nigga.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
It says the issue just isn't exclusive to New York. It signals wider momentum to address fairer payment for artists in the streaming economy. Streaming platforms are often subject of criticism regarding royalty payouts. For example, some platforms have recently faced backlash for minimum stream thresholds. That was 1,000 I was talking about, before their royalties are even paid out, which disproportionately harms smaller artists. You could be somebody that's like, you know what? I'm going to use streaming as a way to support my favorite artists. Unfortunately, because of the pie system of a Spotify, you could listen to me the entire month, and I still won't see a majority of that fraction of a stream because that money is being divvied up to the folks who represent a bigger slice of the pie streaming wise. You're listening to Taylor Swift without listening to her. You're listening to the Kendricks, the Drakes. You're really listening to them, because they're getting a bigger slice of the pie. It's their business model. Do with that information what you will. The Living Wage Musicians Act shines a spotlight on the challenges artists face with the current system, where the royalties are often filtered through labels and distributors based on any contractual agreement. This is where independent distributors as Root Note come in. At Root Note, we let artists choose the best distribution of their needs. So it's kind of going into what they're doing. It talks also too about what these prices may look like. It says a premium subscription for Spotify would go from $11.99 to $17.99, which I don't think that's bad for us as consumers, but I know Spotify ain't gonna be happy with that, since this is one of the first. Last year, the year before was one of the first years that they actually got in the green, according to their books, and they've made profit. I saw this other video up here by the Sync Money account. Shout out to him. Shout out to them over there at the Sync Money account. And he kind of gives his tidbits on it and gives some point of view for us to check out. So here's what this is now in a video form.
New York City Council just passed the Living Wages for Musicians Act, 1 cent per stream. Typically, you'll make around $4,000 per million streams on Spotify. But with this new 1 cent per stream royalty, you'll be making $14,000 on average from 1 million streams.
It's not bad. It's not bad. It's not enough. I'm just playing.
This is an entirely new royalty on top of the royalties that they're already paying out, that gets paid directly to the artist with no middleman. Now that sounds like a living wage to me. $14,000 a month if you have one song that's doing 1 million streams, or $14,000 a month if you have 10 songs doing 100,000 streams. This makes it so that independent artists can actually survive and live comfortably, only having to do music and not have to go out and get second jobs and bartending gigs to survive.
Or terrible acting roles.
Somebody gonna have to tell the truth, and I'm gonna tell it.
I'm only acting right now in this movie because music is only paying fractions of a penny. Am I believable as a police officer right now? That was nobody specifically. I'm just giving examples. They can start getting into departments they don't need to be getting into. They start doing fucking Geico commercials and shit. I just made it up. I'm not talking about nobody. They start doing Geico commercials. Oh, man. What you over here doing with your Geico? Man, you's a Geico. You's a gecko, but you's a guy. Get back in the booth, stupid. I want to see this shit. I didn't sign up for this shit. Get in the booth. Well, I understand it because this shit is very, very expensive to do. 14,000 is definitely nothing to poke your nose up about, but damn it, I still go back to this is why it's so important for you to have some kind of a landing page, some kind of a Bandcamp, some kind of a website that sends people directly to your website and your music. That way, the only fees you got to be concerned about is where you're hosting your music at, and then whatever services you're using to do that. But I use Bandcamp, I use my website. And it's dope to know that I'm going to get paid immediately after somebody makes the purchase. With streaming, artists have to wait 3 to 6 months before they see their fractions of a penny. Imagine dumping all your money into a project and then it actually does really well on streaming, but you can't celebrate, can't buy that champagne until 6 months later. 3 to 6 months later. Did you hear me? Because of this, there's a lot of artists that have been doing some creative things. I want to go back to that video. Let's finish this out. I'm sorry.
Now, while the New York City Council passing this resolution is more symbolic than anything, what it really is them saying we stand behind this getting signed into federal law. So once the House and the Senate approve this bill and the president signs it into law, that's when this stuff can actually start to take effect for you. That being said, the momentum for this bill to get passed is crazy right now. And I think there's no better time with how the industry is shifting towards independent artists for this thing to actually become a reality. You sharing this video will help spread awareness and help us get this thing past the finish line. So share this with an artist friend, post it on your story, do whatever you gotta do to get the word out, because we are this close to changing things forever and being on the right side of history.
Yeah, we're gonna make sure we always amplify that here on this platform. I ain't gonna say his name, but when I was first on my campaign to make sure that I spread this knowledge, it was a certain influential voice in content who said I was only doing that shit to sell albums. 3 years later, do you understand what I meant? You probably ain't gonna call me. You probably ain't gonna send me a message and say, I get it now, Curtis. I get where you coming from. All the folks that was trying to crucify your boy because simply I said that my music is worth something more than what they're trying to put the price tag on it for. You get it now? Last video I want to highlight is kind of just a sign of the times in terms of how artists have been trying to do their own. They've been trying to make their own ways to share with their audience how ridiculous this system is. Well, this artist named Valentin Hansen, I believe Valentin Hansen, did something in 2021 that I did not see. They released a project called Crisis, the Worthless Album. And it says Hansen's previous 2 singles garnered over 3 million combined streams. So it's safe to say, or to assume, that Crisis, the Worthless Album would have been millions of streams now too, which means that he would have made thousands of dollars, right? If it weren't for one major issue, it's impossible. What do you mean it's impossible? This person released a 30-track album that was designed to generate zero income on streaming platforms. How? Or even register any viewing metrics at all? Well, this is why. Each track runs exactly 29 seconds, just 1 second short of Spotify's 30-second requirement and threshold to count as a stream. These niggas broke, bro. They not broke, but they got broke mentalities. They got broke mentalities. They don't pay your musicians. They don't pay your artists that you listen to. If their song is less than 29 seconds, you get nothing. If it doesn't get 1,000 annual streams, you get nothing. If it doesn't go past 29 seconds, well, who came up with that shit? What if I did an interlude? That session still costs money. So you're not going to pay me for 29. I got to make it 30 seconds. Insane. So if that was the point, is why so this artist did this on purpose. I'm going to go ahead and play the video. I want you to see this.
Millions of times on Spotify.
Let me go one more time. Sorry about that.
This album's been played millions of times on Spotify without registering a single stream. In 2021, Berlin-based artist Valentin Hansen released Crisis, the Worthless Album. It featured 30 tracks, each exactly 29 seconds long, 1 second short of Spotify's threshold to count a play as a stream, or log listening metrics, or perhaps most importantly, trigger any royalties. Despite circulating widely online and being endlessly looped on hacked phones in a click farm art installation, Crisis, the Worthless Album earned exactly nothing.
Despite being distributed, despite them paying whatever the amount of money it was to be distributed, Valentin wanted to set an example of how absolutely ridiculous the idea of this streaming royalty payment is. 29 seconds each song, 30 songs, millions and millions of people circulating it all throughout the world. They purposely went to show you that you could still get paid nothing for that traffic. It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I understand to a certain degree the supposed urgency that people had when pirating made the music business shift dramatically. What I don't understand is how it hasn't pivoted, even though we've had housing crisis, even though the cost of living has gone up. What I don't understand is how you don't change that model for the better. So he set an example, and I salute him for doing that, because it's these kind of like artistic choices that could only come from an artist like this.
Not by accident, but by design. A critique of the streaming economy, where an artist
He even botted them. He even botted some of the streams.
earns just 0.4 cents per stream, and algorithms favour the already established. Hansen says, I want to show how broken the system is. When you see how worthless my album is, the critique is obvious.
Can you imagine? Let me just give you an example. Can you imagine you working a sales job? Okay, let's say you selling like Time Warner cable or something, right? And you in Walmart, and then you that annoying ass nigga to be like, hey, my man's in the white sweater. Hey, my man, come here, I want to talk to you, man. Hey, man, who's your cable provider? And what if I said, as a customer, I said, you know what? Forget your whole spiel. I want to buy some cable right now. And you were like, man, I'll get you set up right now. You sign them up, they pay the money, and they got a new subscription, a new cable box for Time Warner Cable. But imagine your supervisor comes to you and says, how long did it take you to close that sale? I'd say probably like 15 seconds. Unfortunately, company policy says we can't pay you out anything because it's just the sale happened too quickly. They weren't standing around enough advertisements of Time Warner Cable to get the full experience. You realize how stupid that sounds? Traffic is traffic. And my product is my product. When do you get to dictate what my product should be or my approach to selling should be? Insane. But hopefully with channels like this, videos like this, artists that are willing to take those risks and do things, I still got my tag on all my music that is on streaming. That's why my streaming numbers are not high, because I took my music down and then I put it back up in a more strategic manner. I got tags that say CurtisKing.com. CurtisKing.com. This is a strip it. Damn, you could have got the second verse, but go on the Bandcamp. I'm trying things because I think this is the time where we need pioneers to try things. We need the creatives to do it. We can't rely on the suits. That's not their department. They know how to organize. They don't know how to get creative. That's why they have us. They think AI is going to be a better partner, and perhaps it will, for creating robotic products without a soul and such. So it's on us. This is our business. This is our music. And I think that's how it should be. But I'll tell you this. Whatever happens with that bill, I wish it the absolute best, because a lot of artists I think that could benefit off of it. I still say the message is still the message. The main thing is the main thing. Your music is not Spotify. Your music is not Spotify's business. Your music is merely renting its existence on Spotify, on Apple Music, on Tidal. It is renting its experience there. Your music needs to live somewhere where you have more control. Preferably your website. Preferably maybe even your Bandcamp, but your website preferably. That's your real estate to pay your monthly, to structure it however you want, so people can get the digital version. And listeners, how many of you signed up for Netflix because you saw something like, damn, they got a different world, a TV series that's on there? Wow, man, it's so much better than having DVDs around the house. Until you realize some of the scenes in Different World on Netflix, they used AI to sharpen them. Did you notice that? Some of the text in the background, some of the black painters that are on the walls, AI has edited those experiences. Okay, You may say not such a big deal. And then you realize there's scenes that are missing. Hell, you paid 2 months for Netflix and realized the whole fucking TV show is gone. And now you're paying for a bunch of shit you don't even want to watch anymore because you just came here from Martin in a different world. Imagine that's what's happening with music, and it is happening with music. What you're paying for that subscription is them giving you access to whatever the hell they want to give you access to. This is why, no matter how outdated you may think of a CD or how outdated of a DVD or how outdated, this is why it's important. Can't nobody walk in your house and erase your DVD. What you got is the original, and it's what you got. Gamers, you know how important it is for you when you bought a game and then all of a sudden there's new changes and you got to go repurchase some kind of a license to the game, or you can't even have access to the game because the company went belly up? This is why physical product is so important. It's just a backup, but in the process of securing that backup, you're also supporting the people who have made the art that you saw worthy of buying. DIYers, where do you see things going? Let me know in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts. Those are my thoughts. Let me know what you're thinking. DIYers, if you enjoyed this content, make sure that you hit the like button and maybe even consider subscribing. Come on, man. Don't be greedy. Peace.